on up, Desiree Cooper. Desiree Cooper!
Thank you, Satori, for doing this for the community. So we're talking about monumental mothers. My mother wasn't just my mother. And my mother's alive, but growing up, she was my BFF. Like before there were BFFs, my mother was my BFF. If I was supposed to go on a date and the date was like 15 minutes late, my mother would hide me upstairs and the date would roll up to the door and she'd answer it and she'd go, "Oh, I didn't know you were coming. Des already left with some friends." And then we'd go upstairs and eat popcorn or watch movies. I was perfectly happy. My family's in Virginia, and when I left Virginia to come to Detroit to make a life here, for 13 hours I cried. And every Sunday I would think about that Southern Sunday meal that my mother would be making, and I wasn't at the table. I wasn't in the kitchen with her to help prepare. So we just forged through. Like, we saw each other when we could. We talked all the time on the phone. This was in the days before cell phones. So when I was launching my family, rolls and rolls and rolls and rolls of film. I mean, I own stock in Kodak, if anyone remembers what Kodak is. It was insane. Like, we just did whatever we could to be connected. And we knew that there was nothing that was going to ever come between me and my BFF, my mom, except Alzheimer's. In 2006, my mom started to show signs that something was really wrong. And we went to doctors and soon realized that she was on this journey. And I was devastated. You know, the first thing I just thought is, how much time do I have? And the second thing I started thinking, because I'm type A and a control freak, is what can I do? What can I do? So I decided I'm gonna make a memory, me and my mom, we're gonna make a memory that will transcend everything. It will be so deep in her DNA that she will never, no matter what happens, forget this memory. I'm gonna take my mom to the Oprah show. Excellent idea, right? All right, so that's important. Everybody knows how big and important Oprah is in so many lives, but my mother was like in blackout mode at 4 o'clock every day. You could not call her. The first thing in a discussion was, "Did you see Oprah today?" And she would say many times that Oprah saved her life. And I believed her. So taking her to Oprah was definitely going to be that thing that we were going to be Thelma and Louise on it, without the suicide part, but, you know, Thelma and Louise, we're going to get to the Oprah show. So, great idea. How do you get your mother to the Oprah show? So I started emailing the show. I would call all the time. My mother, we only have so much time. Can you please help us? We got to get there. We got to get there. Nothing's happening. So I said, WWOD. What would Oprah do? So I started to manifest. I went everywhere I went. I stated my intention. I'm taking my mom to the Oprah show. And it worked. Out of the blue, someone who's in my social circle, who I'd never even had like a private lunch with or even really a private phone call with, said, "I got this. I'm going to get you and your mom to the Oprah show." I'm like, oh my God, we're going to Oprah show. So I didn't tell my mother. I actually, after I stated my intention and it came true, I got a little scared because like you could state things and they come out. So, but I just kind of kept it to myself. I'm like, I know these things take time and everything. And really, weeks went by, months went by, and I kind of even put it in the back of my mind, like I was so close, maybe this isn't going to happen. I didn't dare to even believe it. And then one day, this friend calls and says, this is like on a Friday, and says, "Can you and your mom get to the Oprah show to Chicago on Wednesday?" I'm like, yes, we're going to the Oprah show, yes. hung up the phone. No, how are we going to do this? So here's the problem. At that time, I was commuting between St. Paul and Detroit for a job. My mother's in Virginia, and this is now a couple years later, and she's realizing that she's not herself. So she's kind of afraid to travel by herself, and we're seeing less of each other in person. So this would require us to each fly separately to Detroit, meet in Detroit, and then get our connection to Chicago, and then reverse it. So this is going to be big. And plus, it's only a few days, so the tickets are astronomical. So the Village got it together. We said we're going to do this, and arrangements were made. I couldn't believe it, but 2 days before this show, I'm at the airport. I'm standing in front of the gate that my mother's going to be coming out of with my camera. Remember Kodak? It was before. With my camera, and I'm going to take the picture of my mother, like that slow motion, like coming off. My daughter, my friend, we're going to the Oprah show. So I'm poised there. I see my mother. She had like a big head of red hair at that point, and so I see this red hair coming, and I'm like, oh my God, oh my God. And she runs up to me, and she goes, Des, this is Maria, who sat with me on the plane. Maria has 3 children. She's a nurse. Anytime we come to Detroit, we can come visit her. Will you take a picture of me and Maria? So here's something that they don't tell you about dementia and Alzheimer's, and that is even long before the memories go, the personality shifts. And the person you think you know, you no longer know anymore. And clearly my mother had been freaked out on the plane, and she just grabbed hold to the person next to her who was kind enough to entertain her and talk to her. And for that moment, that's all that was important, was that she was safe and someone was talking to her. So she completely had lost the bigger picture that we were on our way to the Oprah show. So I take all the bags and I put everything down, and I'm snapping all these pictures and being dutiful and feeling like, really pouty about it. Like, it's me, I'm the star here, I'm taking you to Oprah. And it's, bye, Maria, we'll see ya. And so we get to our gate. So we get to the gate, and the flight's canceled. Chicago is fogged in. Fog, this is in February. So I had looked at the weather, there was no snow, which one would guess, or no ice storms, fog. So we wait around, and finally they say, there's nothing's going out, we'll just book you for the morning. So that was okay. We were gonna miss our overnight in Chicago, but we would be there in time for the show. So they give us a voucher for the hotel. This whole time my mother starts in on me. She's like, let's just go to your house. Like, I can see the grandkids, and it's okay. And I'm like, no. We are going to the Oprah show. You can see these grandkids anytime. We are going to the Oprah show. And she's like, no, we are going, So I get in the room, she's kind of getting on my nerves a little bit. And so I called the friend who got the tickets, and I said, you're not going to believe this, but, the airport's fogged. And my friend, she's like, God's got this. You're going to be at that show. You stop it right now. You change your mind and your attitude. Don't worry about it. It's happening. Trust me, it's happening. She Oprah'd me. She Oprah'd me. I was like, yes, you're right. And then I kind of curl up on the bed just to get it together, And my mom's like shoveling through stuff, and I don't know if she was unpacking like for this hours that we're just going to be in this room. And then I feel like something covering me, and I look up, and my mother has matching Valentine pajamas for us. I know. So I put on the matching pajamas, and we curl up on the same bed together, and we watch TV and fall asleep. So the next morning, I'm up. We gotta get to Oprah, and so I'm like buzzing around. Everything's cool, but my mother now is just. This has just been a bit much. She's just really disoriented, and she's going really pokey slow. And I'm like, come on, we're going over. So I, kind of shovel us out, and we're got to go back through security. And the line is crazy. And now she's saying, this is why I don't like to travel. After 9/11, the country was ruined. I don't, blah, 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 blah. And I turn around to her, and I'm like, you have got to stop complaining. We are going to the Oprah show, and I don't need this kind of drama. And people are looking at me like, what kind of witch would talk to her mother? Like, what is going on here? And my mother is just like, I'm just going to take it down now because she's lost her mind. So we get on the plane. The plane leaves on time. We get, we're on the ground in Chicago. We get in a cab, and I'm like, Thelma and Louise, oh, we're going to Oprah. And my mother says to the cab driver, so how long have you been driving a cab? Oh, you're from Jamaica. Was it hard for you to get a license, blah, blah? And they're like nattering on and on about this license forever. I'm like, what? Again, she's completely lost focus. Like, we're going to this show. Why is this even a conversation? So we get there, and I don't know if you guys have been to Chicago and seen Harpo Studios, but it's like very unassuming, it's just a box, right? And it's in an unassuming part of town, so it's like, this is yeah, Mom, let's just get in line. You get in line, they take everything from you. You can't take notes, that Kodak, you can't do any, you can't take any pictures. So, and then they put us in a room where we're sitting in rows and rows of chairs, like thigh to thigh, and they give us box lunches on our laps, and it's like the cardboard box, and you open in this turkey sandwich, blah, blah, blah. And so we're kind of sitting there like lemmings, eating and looking around. And it's not like brunch with Oprah, which one would kind of expect, but... So finally, it's time for us to go into the studio, and I'm like, the wonder, they open the door and we go in. Ah. Again, if you've ever been on a TV set, nah, it's like cardboard and janky, and it's temporary. They're going to be changing it, so it's not. It looks good on TV, but in real life, it's really very temporary. So I'm like, oh my God, and this moment is the moment where I think I'm ruining Oprah for my mother. This is such a good idea, but now we're at the Emerald City, and I've literally moved the veil back, and I'm like, look, it's this little thing, not at all. So she sits down, we sit down, and they sit us right behind the chair that Oprah will be sitting on during the show. We're right behind. So if you were going to watch that episode, you could see us going like right behind Oprah, okay? So this is like, oh my gosh. It's like, I can't wait to tell my friend the seat we got and all this stuff. So we sit there, and then Oprah comes out. She has on her bedroom slippers because Oprah has legendary bad feet, right? We know that. So she's kind of shuffling around. And she comes in and she stops, and she goes, hey, Barbara. Oh, well, she didn't say Barbara. She goes, hey. And I'm thinking, she knows my mother. Of all the people in the room, she stops, and it's like she's going to say, hey, Barbara, what are you doing here? But she touches my mother's hand, and my mother's like, whoa, And then Oprah comes, and she goes, and she bends over to sit down in that chair, and we got a front row view of the Oprah plumber's crack. And I'm like, did my mother see that? No, this is and then the staff comes to put on the real shoes, and so then we got the Oprah bunions, after the... So we're just sitting there, we're a little bit in shock, and the show turns out to be, it's called The Secret Behind the Secret, and it's kind of exactly the show I needed to be sitting at. And I just remember a line that was if you believe that life is a battle, then prepare for war, you really, if that's the way you're looking at things, then that's how it's going to be. So I really felt like I really needed to hear that, especially given our journey. So the show is over, and we were just kind of floating on cloud nine. We took the cab back. There was like no time for any hotel transitions. We were like right back to the airport. And we were kind of quiet in the car. I just think neither of us could quite believe that we had actually made this happen. Got on the plane, got home safely. About a year later, I was visiting in Virginia, and there were other people like hanging around, and my mother out of the blue says, "Did I ever tell you about the time my daughter took me to the Oprah show?" And like my heart stopped. I'm like, what is she gonna say? What does she remember? And she said, "That's my daughter. She's my best friend."
Desiree Cooper.